A visit to Kantamanto Market 3 years after major fire disaster.
Kaneshi Circle Trotro Station at Nkrumah Circle temporarily relocated.
And record tumbling crude oil prices likely to necessitate emergency OPEC meeting soon.
Good evening. Welcome to our studios. It's GBC24 and GTV. This is when we update you on events around our world. I'm Akushika Akwe.
And I'm Conrad Kakraba, and Clement Sam is doing the sign language translation.
It was President John Mahama's third major news conference held at the Flagstaff House. In a response punctuated with laughter and applause from his audience, he spoke on a wide range of issues, including the recent petroleum price increase. Mr. Mahama said Ghana has lost out heavily in revenue from oil exports due to the sharp drop in world market prices.
And since development is a priority, the government took the tough decision to partly mobilize resources through the price hikes. And according to the president, it runs on a system in which the relatively wealthy pay more in the final analysis in contribution to social development and to subsidize the poor. Napoleon Atikito reports.
Despite the hurdles confronting the Mahama administration, it prides itself of having laid out a development agenda which has set Ghana on the path of transformation. Bad news sells, a common refrain in media practice, billowed into the forefront as the questions were rolled out to the president. Not much time was spent on the array of additions made to the infrastructural stock in the relatively short span of the Mahama administration. The focus was rather on the issues which could aptly be described as the intangible and the abstract, whose approach or solutions might perhaps remain open-ended for a long time to come. Ghana's acceptance of a U.S. government request to host 2 of the released Guantanamo Bay detainees was the top question.
Mr. President, there was this allegation that there were some monetary considerations and that you have something to hide. I want you to touch on that.
I'm happy you asked this question. There is no monetary consideration, and the U.S. itself would have disclosed if there was any monetary consideration. And so what you're seeing in social media that I collected 300 million to accept these detainees is absolutely untrue. A risk assessment was done by the U.S. itself, and these 2 detainees, Al-Dubi and Benatef, were considered to be the most compliant detainees in Guantanamo camp, and they were put in the lowest risk category in Guantanamo. And let me be clear, people say ex-convicts. They were never tried, they were never charged, they were never convicted.
The energy crisis. The president painted what he termed as the reality of the situation, indicating that Ghana's problem has been the deficit in power generation. Demand has outgrown what the Konsombo Dam can supply, and heavy investment is therefore going into alternative sources of power, which includes that of independent power producers. That will eventually end the cycle of load shedding, but in doing so, the nation must make a choice between diametrically opposed alternatives. Choose hydro-fed power, which is limited anyway, and remain in the power crisis, or end it by paying realistic prices for new investments. The same goes for water, which until recent interventions saw people search everywhere with gallons. He said he was not a despot who will circumvent the rules in pursuit of alleged corruption cases. Following his head-on confrontation with the canker, cases which might have been covered up under the heavy hand of a politician are being prosecuted. That, says the president, made it seem like corruption is pervasive now, and to which his opponents latch on. On teacher and nurse trainees, He said allowances paid to teacher trainees, for instance, were abolished and replaced with the Teachers Loan Trust Fund, repayable over a long period once the training colleges were upgraded to university status.
Once we raised them to tertiary status and made them degree and diploma awarding, we said, look, let's create equity between them and the other universities, because we've created even the Student Loans Trust. And so you can go to the Student Loans Trust and take a loan to finance your education, and then you pay it over years when you have completed. Now that will allow us to increase enrollment. So with the banning of the quota and the removal of the training allowances, enrollment into teacher training institutions has increased by 63%.
He spoke about the microfinance issue in the Bunafo region.
Why Bank of Ghana acted was that if Bank of Ghana did not freeze the money that was left in the account, they were going to withdraw it and run away. And so Bank of Ghana was acting to protect the interests of the people. Then these people turn around and go and say, Bank of Ghana we are not paying you because Bank of Ghana has taken the money, and that they are using it to do roads in the country. I expect that all of us as political leaders will be responsible, and that our intention first and foremost is to protect the interests of the innocent Ghanaians who have been affected by this. And yet again, for political expediency, political opponents take it and go around from place to place. They say they are doing forum and inciting the people against government.
The president faced a tough set of questions during the third round of questioning when issues of taxation, energy and corruption came up. Mindful of the stakes that are so high, the astute communicator chose his words rather carefully in order not to be misconstrued in an election year. Going into the November 7th general elections, the honors appears to be a double-edged. A politician that will tell the public the facts to shake them out of their ignorance, and an electorate that will cross-check the facts. From the Flagstaff House, Napoleon Atukitu reporting.
The Ghana National Fire Service on Monday raised the red flag over the unprecedented number of fires recorded this Harmattan season. And in the first 10 days of the year, more than 50 fires have already been recorded. An official of the service, Timothy Safo-Efum, is urging the general public to complement the efforts of the service by observing safety regulations both at home and the workplace.
The peak period for the Harmattan is between November and March. In 2015, the Harmattan started earlier than normal. The Achimota Forest, the Kumasi Central Market, Ashaiman, the Makola Market, Aiman all experienced fire outbreaks. Traders affected by these fires are still counting their loss. To minimize the incidence of fires, the Ghana National Fire Service set up a task force and trained over 1,000 fire volunteers to monitor areas deemed fire-prone. It has also intensified its safety education and awareness in churches, mosques, marketplaces, lorry parks, as well as in the rural communities. The acting head of the PR department of the service, Timothy Safo-Efum, said minimizing fires requires a concerted effort.
Fire safety is therefore a shared responsibility of all stakeholders and the general public. So if we want to see an end to these preventable fires, then the public has a bigger role to play. This is because they are closer to the fire flash spots across the country than the fire personnel.
Accessibility is another issue the service faces when fire breaks out, especially in markets. The service is liaising with MMDAs to ensure that adequate market routes are created. In 2014, the Ghana National Fire Service recorded a total of 549 fires. For 2015, 948 fires were recorded between January and November, the highest on record.
On the 5th of May 2013, the nation woke up to a fire disaster described as one of the worst to hit any market in the country. That fire outbreak at the Kantamanto market destroyed property worth millions of cedis. 3 years on, the biggest used clothing market in the country is back in business. But that disaster is etched deep in the hearts of the traders. GBC24 has been to the Kantamanto market to find out measures in place to prevent future fires.
Of that day in May 2013, majority of the traders took loans from the bank and have no form of insurance for their wares or shirts. The market entrance where eggs are sold, the commercial bank area, and the warehouse were most affected. LPG gas cylinders at the market worsened the situation. Some of the traders who lost their wares in that fire recapped that day. Though the cause of the fire was never ascertained, illegal wiring of the market, accessibility to the market, and the presence of flammable gadgets like cylinders were suspected to have led to the spark that started the fire. Later, the government provided 300 cedis each as startup capital for some of the traders. 3 years on, this is the market. This is one of the roads to the market. Leadership of the market have created access roads to the market. In addition, the market has been rewired by only one qualified electrician. The market now has 37 security gates, manned by 8 security men and 6 task force officers. The market now operates between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. Unlike in the past, now every shop which uses electricity has a breaker installed to prevent the easy spread of fire to other stores when there is fire. The leaders have also banned the presence of cylinders at the market, and anyone who needs to use a generator at the market would first have to acquire an extinguisher before being allowed to use the generator. Anyone who flouts any of the regulations faces a suspension of between 2 weeks and 3 months. Some of the traders say they still struggle to pay back some of the loans. They also explain how, in their small ways, they plan to prevent any possible fires in the future. The chairman of the Kantamanto Traders Association, Mr. Atta Ufori, said the leadership is putting in place measures to build a permanent shopping mall for the traders. He also had some advice for traders in other markets and Ghanaians generally. The traders say they will work together to prevent the recurrence of any fire again.
Commercial drivers operating at the Kaneshi Circle Trotro station at the Kwame Nkrumah Circle have been relocated temporarily to the Las Palmas and VIP railway terminals. The move clears the way for construction work to begin on a modern transit terminal for commercial vehicles that use the station, which is very popular among commuters. The Deputy Treasurer of the Kaneshi Circle Odona Trotro Station Union, Mr. Akilu Isifi, told GBC24 that the new station, which is expected to be completed in the next 3 weeks, will create a well-structured and safe environment for business.
The Circle Odona Trotro Station, popularly known as the Kaneshi Circle Station, is one of the oldest stations in the Accra metropolis. Commercial vehicles which operate at the station ply almost every area or community in the Accra metropolis, thus making the station a busy one. The construction of the new Circle interchange by the Brazilian company, which is almost at the completion stage, is to ease traffic congestion at the Kwame Nkrumah Circle and modernize the old architectural design of the Nkrumah Circle roundabout. This has necessitated the need to construct a modern commercial station which will allow commuters and commercial vehicles to operate freely and safely. Mr. Aliku Isifu, who is the Deputy Treasurer at the Circle Odona Station, says station masters were informed about the construction and so they decided to relocate to give way for work to begin.
Last week, my friend meeting said, "On person may have my na na cars na o hantini anya bebi nkujina nti ye hwe enso date on my no ya hwa mo ma nya maya na o mo kwa ye ho bechi nti e man eneba na ka che drivers ni se nyina nko pe bebi engine gina o mo nya kwan enye ejuma no maya."
He said the stations have engaged individuals to carry placards with various locations inscribed on it to direct passengers who may find it difficult to locate to the new settlement. GBC24 spoke to one of such porters.
Passengers say no anything board no The board on the
Some drivers who are now operating from their new stations expressed disappointment that their leaders did not give them prior notice to enable them to inform their passengers. This, they said, has affected their business.
Cars the entire no agent my passengers. It is obey BB after BB says so much. I was on my drivers in here where I say, you move here. You are the more call aha. You are the Medina Fonso Aqua. You are the Kanesi Fonso Abaha. But where the only one is all more Baprecope. Passengers in the sea will be bar. Who baby cry and a curse. And it's quite difficult to a man. Momentum was a mobile number. The new Wumpa. Yes, sir. No much about Banks will never tell my Abansa the more thing. About a bra, a better grandson. The Billabama.
And now I move Wabaha. In Sina Nipa Omujina, that point, our man, Presidents Nebaha. Omuba so I answer no more Cassan on my own Bafukana. Do you want the headings so you go so your boy home in the baby?
GBC24 also chanced upon a heap of rubbish at the center of the Circle station. According to Mr. Aliku Isifu, the station masters ensure that the station is always clean, but they alleged that the Accra Metropolitan Assembly AMA has failed to carry out its duty by collecting the rubbish on daily basis.
Authorities in Bonahafu are working around the clock to stem the tide of the meningitis outbreak in the Tyne district. It has been 2 weeks since the outbreak of the disease in the region, and currently 7 more cases have been recorded with 2 additional deaths in parts of the region. This brings the death toll to 11 out of the 38 cases recorded. Bonahafu regional correspondent Frida Aban earlier gave an update on the situation in the region.
Brief this morning that 7 cases were recorded in addition yesterday at 5 p.m. And what the information we have is that 2 of the 7 cases were imported from Bandang Kwanta. That is, they were referred from Bandang Kwanta to the Wenchi Methodist Hospital, which had already recorded 4 cases. And also Kintampo South had recorded 1 as at yesterday 5 p.m. When we went to the government hospital in the Tyne district yesterday, we were told by the officer in charge that the regional office has provided them with adequate antibiotics and other materials needed for the control of the disease. And the disease control unit informed us that it has mounted rural surveillance in the area to monitor the activities of the inhabitants.
The Rotary Club of Accra has paid a courtesy call on management of the state broadcaster to pay their TV license fee as their civic responsibility. They asked the GBC's management to give more publicity to the GTV governance channel, which they believe has good content to benefit tertiary institutions.
Members of the Accra Rotary Club are the latest to have come to GBC to pay their TV license. They described the move as a civic responsibility. The president of the Rotary Club of Accra, Mrs. Esther Ofori, urged GBC to find innovative ways of making money.
Indeed, it is worthwhile paying the television license because these are the things you have to go through to get signals to your home, and the signals are interesting, and so on and so forth. Private broadcaster was actually recording Kwame Nkrumah's speeches and was selling them here in Ghana. But those are the kind of things that one would like to have, and you are big. So if let's say you have all these copyrights and so on, these are things that you can do to make money.
The past Rotary International Director, Mr. Sam Okujeto, said he enjoyed watching one of the new GBC channels, GTV Govern, which is dedicated to governance issues.
There's only one program on the television that I watch, which is governance. And I was just asking my colleagues, and I realized many of them were unaware of it. And something that I thought we need more to publicize, because the average person or the average educated person, sometimes even with PhD, is absolutely ignorant about even governance. But if they were to watch that program more often, see the historical sequences of leaders that have come not only in Ghana, other parts of the world, propagate ideologies, and then the mess that they created.
The group presented a plaque to GBC for its contribution towards the nation's development. The Director of Technical Production, Mr. Oscar Incho, commended Rotary for its support to the country.
In fact, this is just a very good message. And we will not only work for the truth or with the truth, but we will ensure that anything that has to do with broadcasting, that we are involved, truth will be the cornerstone.
The Ghana Broadcasting Corporation now has 6 television channels, including GTV, GBC24, GTV Govern, GTV Sports Plus, GTV Live, and Ubonu TV.
We'll be back with business news.
Hello again, my name is Maurice Ogbete. We start business from the Flagstaff House, where President Mahama says although the Bank of Ghana is autonomous in its jurisdiction, government is now stepping in to help address the challenges in the microfinance sector, especially in the Bono-Afo region. In Accra on Tuesday, Mr. Mahama said government will ensure that all corporates are prosecuted.
My government is going to take action to protect the interests of Ghanaians, but I appeal to my fellow Ghanaians. If somebody is offering you higher than the treasury bill rate, profits free, please take a step back and look at it. When I saw the category of even some of those who have lost money and been duped in this scheme, I was shocked. Intellectuals, professionals. Bank of Ghana will do its best to distribute whatever is available in conjunction with the companies. And I've asked the BNI to look for and identify all their properties. And let's put a lien on those properties so that even if we sell those properties and we get some money, we can still refund money to the people who lost it. But then we're going to prosecute them for fraud. And so they're currently in BNI custody. They've been remanded for a week. We'll go back to courts, and the investigation has started. And those who have cheated the people will pay for what they have done.
We remain at the Flagstaff House, where President Mahama says though the load shedding exercise has reduced drastically, there is still a supply gap which needs to be addressed.
The chief executive of GMPC and a company called Quantum are in Qatar to discuss the issue of a floating storage regasification unit. It's called FSRU. And what that does is it's a floating barge, and then you bring liquid natural gas and you pump it into the barge, and it regasifies it and supplies it just like any gas pipeline to the thermal plants. We need to have that as insurance, so that if anything happens to the West African gas pipeline or anything happens to our own Etuabo plant, if we had an FSRU in Etuabo today, with the shutdown of the gas plant, we won't have to shut down any plants or convert them to crude. We'll just use the FSRU and provide gas to the thermal plants to continue to work as they have done normally. And so we are fortifying the power sector, both in terms of generation and in terms of the distribution network. We've also invested a lot of money in Gridco to expand the distribution network and make it more robust.
Now, government is to hold discussions with the Ghana Stock Exchange on a possible review of the capital gains tax imposed on companies listed on the Ghana Stock Exchange. Also billed to be on the table for discussion would be the 3% rebate on taxes of companies listed on the Accra Bourse. A Deputy Minister of Finance, Mrs. Mona Korte, made a statement in an interview with GBC24 on the sidelines of the 25th anniversary lecture of the Ghana Stock Exchange. The past, the present, and the future of the Ghana Stock Exchange was the focus of the Silver Jubilee Anniversary Lectures. From 11 listed companies in 1990, when the Accra Bourse commenced operations, the exchange can now boast of 39 listed companies and 2 corporate bonds. In 1993, the GSC was the 6th best index performing emerging stock market with a capital appreciation of 116%. In 2014, the stock exchange managed a market capitalization of 64.4 billion Ghana cedis after an increase from 61.2 billion Ghana cedis in 2013. Speaking at the 25th anniversary lectures of the Ghana Stock Exchange, the chairman of the council, Dr. Sam Mensah, expressed worry about the imposition of new taxes on investment in equities listed on the market.
The market has gotten to this point because of incentives that were put in place by the government, including various tax incentives. So growth of the market is going to be slowed down or maybe even stagnate if those incentives are removed. And so that's what we are trying to dialogue with government about.
Other market watchers say there is the need to exempt the industry when it comes to the imposition of new taxes.
Last year, if you bought and sold a share, you'd be able to get all of your returns. Now you have to pay a portion to the state, which is less than before, so it makes it less attractive. If you're a company thinking about listing on the exchange, the benefits you used to get from a tax break perspective have now been taken away. So from last year to this year, the company's listing is less attractive. For an investor who invests, it's less attractive. Makes it worse. So I think the government needs to really take a good look at that. If it really thinks that the stock exchange is a medium which should be used to help raise capital, not just for itself, but for its own people, then I think it needs to remove those taxes.
Reacting to concerns raised by analysts on the new taxes, a Deputy Minister of Finance, Mona Korte, said government will hold talks with management of the exchange for a possible review of the capital gain tax.
Nothing is written in stone and nothing is hard and fast, but laws are to guide us and to make sure that we do well. But if a law will create a certain situation at a particular time, government is willing to have that discussion.
The Ghana Stock Exchange recorded one of its poor performance in 2015. The market, which registered 75% growth rate in 2013, is now in the region of negative 13% as at the end of November 2015. On the interbank markets, the cedi continued its strong performance against its trading partners on the currency market. By close of trading today, the cedi inched up a pesewa to the dollar to close trading at 3 cedis 79 pesewas. It also gained 2 pesewas against the pound sterling and the euro. And prices of commodities on the international market continue to fall. Light crude dipped 43 cents to close trading at $30.98. Cocoa, on the other hand, dipped by $36 in price to close trading at $2,866. News will continue after this break. Stay with us.
The health segment is brought to you by FBAC. FBAC blows your pain away. The lack of space and inadequate facilities at the Maira Fase Clinic in the Gan West municipality is hampering effective healthcare delivery in the area. The clinic, which serves 9 other remote communities, does not have a bathroom for patients on admission. And what was also obvious was the increasing number of children with tooth decay and gum diseases. Here's a report by Sarah Ofori.
The Maira Fase Clinic is the only immediate medical facility to the people of Maira Fase, Idura Quarters, Osofuaman, Osnodompe, Abese, Katapo, Dunyo, and often residents of Amasaman. Although the clinic has no doctor but a physician assistant, about 50 patients are seen to on a busy day. It has an OPD, maternity, and a reproductive and child health unit. There are only 3 beds at the OPD and 4 beds at the recovery ward for nursing mothers. The clinic has a laboratory. The dispensary doubles as the administration and nurses' changing room. Even though toilets are available, there are no bathrooms.
The spacing is a big challenge. Currently, we have about 5 clients on admission currently. And you see, you find some on benches and some in a chair. And then also the bad roads is also a major one. Sometimes if we have someone who needs an emergency transportation, we call the ambulance and it takes a long time for them to get here because of the bad roads. When there's no light and the water in our poly tank, it's a small poly tank up there, when it finishes, it becomes a challenge. We'd have to carry buckets and fetch water across the street.
This is the labor ward, and Regina Major is a midwife.
Yeah, we don't have a vacuum extractor. And also we don't have bathhouse. We don't have bathhouse for the mothers when they come in labor and they didn't deliver that very day. They don't have anywhere to take their bath.
This is where the Rotary Club of Accra West, Dallas and Michigan come in. In collaboration with 2 NGOs, they took over 250 children and adults through dental care. Some were either given a fluoride wash or surgery to remove the bad teeth. Dr. Ted Fields is the lead surgeon on the team.
You just don't want to have too much fluoride or it's actually can be bad for your teeth. But also having no fluoride is bad for your teeth, weakens your teeth.
Typically, surgical procedures to remove a bad tooth could cost about 400 cedis per tooth, but the residents went through the procedure free of charge. Sarah Ofori, GBC24, Maira Fase.
2-year-old Christy Senagbe has been diagnosed with a medical condition known as hydrocephalus. Now, this occurs when fluid builds up in the skull and causes the brain to swell. Doctors say she must undergo a surgery at the cost of 3,500 Ghana cedis to save her life.
Hydrocephalus can start before a baby is born. This can result from a birth defect in which the spinal cord doesn't close or through a genetic abnormality or infections that occur during pregnancy. Hydrocephalus can also cause permanent brain damage. Some of its symptoms in children include vomiting, poor feeding, excessive sleepiness, and eyes that are fixed downwards. According to Christy's mother, she gave birth to a daughter at home, and the next day she realized that her skull was softening. She therefore took her to a hospital in the Volta region, after which she was transferred to the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. All efforts to cure her deformity have proved futile, and doctors say she needs to undergo a surgery which includes a cost of 3,500 Ghana cedis. Donations can be sent to the following account details. Holali Podo, Ghana Commercial Bank, Joje. Account number 50310100004328 or call 026 778-5254 or 026-585-0807.
The health segment was brought to you by FPAC. FPAC blows your pain away.
In other news, Nigerian Oil Minister Emmanuel Ibe Kachiku says he expects an extraordinary meeting of the OPEC oil cartel in early March to address nose-diving crude prices. At an energy forum in Abu Dhabi, he said the prices have hit levels that necessitate a meeting. The U.S. crude oil price tumbled below $31 a barrel on Tuesday, extending a sell-off that has pushed it to more than 12-year lows amid a global supply glut, a strong dollar, and low demand. Saudi-led Gulf exporters within OPEC have so far refused to cut production to curb sliding prices, seeking to protect their market share despite a heavy blow to their revenues. More than half of the children in South Sudan are not in school, the highest proportion in any country. 51% of children between ages 6 and 15, or 1.8 million children, are not in school in South Sudan, which has seen violence for 2 years as government forces battle rebels. UNICEF's Chief of Education for South Sudan said even before the conflict began, 1.4 million children were already missing class. Since the war broke out, over 800 schools have been demolished and more than 400,000 children have had to abandon their classrooms. Only 1 in 10 South Sudanese students who enter school finish primary education amid a shortage of facilities and trained teachers. Junior doctors have been urged to return to the negotiating table by Health Secretary Jeremy Hunt, who described their strike as completely unnecessary. NHS England said about 10,000 junior doctors had reported for duty out of 2,600 scheduled to work the day shift. Junior doctors in England are staging a 24-hour walkout in a dispute over a new contract. Dr. Johan Malawana, chair of the British Medical Association Junior Doctors Committee, said junior doctors in their thousands have made it quite clear what they think of the government's plans to impose contracts in which junior doctors have no confidence. Chief Executive of the Patients Association called for continued discussions, saying both sides must remember that their first concern must always be to patients who deserve much better. We have some sports news momentarily.
Hello and welcome. Let's talk sports. This is in partnership with Obingo Pharmaceuticals Limited, producers of Lunat and Tornado Bitters. The next level. Let's stay straight in Accra, where the president of the Ghana Football Association, Kwesi Nyantikyi, has been re-elected president of the West Africa Football Union Zone B in Tuesday's elections in Accra. Nyantikyi beat Niger's Jibril Hamidou 4-3 in a close victory after voting at the Movenpick Hotel. The Ghana Football Association president will take charge for another 4-year term from 2016 to 2020. Still staying in Accra, one of FIFA's presidential candidates, Prince Ali bin Hussein of Jordan, says he feels if the Michael Garcia report into allegations of corruption during the bidding for the 2018-2022 World Cups is published, it will restore the trust FIFA needs now. Prince Ali revealed this exclusively to GBC24 in Accra. Just touch on the Garcia report. You feel that there is the need for FIFA to come out and let the world know whatever is contained in that thing?
Well, yeah.
Why?
Well, I think that FIFA as an organization has to be open. If you're governing the most popular sport in the world, then you have to have an open attitude towards everything. I think it's critical for people to know what is going on in the organization. That's my way. I like to unlock the doors and open the windows and be open to all. There's nothing to hide. And that is one of the ways to restore faith in the organization. And then once we do that, we get on with what's most important, and that's the development of football across the globe.
It's unfortunate we're told we have only 1 minute. Ghanaians are watching. This is Ghana television. Yes. What should Ghana remember you for when you become the FIFA president?
Well, that I will have served football in all over the world and in Africa as well. And hopefully we'll see Ghana win the World Cup if we get the support that we need, obviously for Ghana and for football across the continent. And they will also know that I'm there to be fair, to be equal with everyone, and to give empowerment, which is very, very important for our national associations.
Lionel Messi has won the 2015 FIFA Ballon d'Or ahead of Real Madrid rival Cristiano Ronaldo and Barcelona teammate Neymar, claiming the prestigious award at Monday's ceremony in Zurich. It is the Argentine's 5th World Player of the Year title, more than any other player in history. The Ghana National Supporters Union has organized its annual get-together at their branches sport in Accra. It was to take stock of the year and project into the future.
The Ghana National Supporters Union, GANSU, is one of the biggest supporter unions in the country. Every year, the group meets to reflect on the past year, celebrate their achievements, as well as take steps to correct mistakes and plan for the year. This year's gathering at their branches sports in Abekala Pass, a suburb of Accra, attracted some high-profile personalities from all walks of life, including some sports federation heads, like Mr. Benunu Mensah, the president of the Ghana Weightlifting Federation. One of the country's finest gospel artists, the great Ampon, was at his best. Some comedians entertained the group with their jokes. The president of GANSU, Mr. Abraham Boachi, popularly known as one-man supporter, said it's time all stakeholders in football join forces to develop the game.
Ghana football said we are there.
We are all stakeholders in football and we must help to develop it.
The night was also used to raise funds to support the group's activities for the year.
That's all for sports.
Hello, good evening. Time for some arts news. My name is Valerie Danso. The chiefs and people of the Nanun traditional area in the northern region have celebrated this year's Damba at Bimbila. The festival aims to unite the feuding factions in the chieftaincy dispute in that part of the country.
Damba is celebrated by some major ethnic groups in the northern region of Ghana, including Nanumbes. The festival is in two folds: the Somo Damba and Na Damba. Somo Damba is celebrated to commemorate the birth of the prophet, whilst the Na Damba is held to mark his naming ceremony. Sighting of the moon by chiefs, elders and family heads of the various ethnic groups marks the beginning of the Damba celebrations. The regent of the Nanumba Traditional Council, Nyelengbolingu Na Yakubu and Dani Dasana, appealed to the Ministry of Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts to consider the construction of a bridge over the Chichagi River to connect Bimbila and nearby communities to enhance economic activities in the area.
I would like to remind all of you, Nanama, that you are from the people, by the people, and for the people. Our role as chiefs is to ensure the best interest of our people. I therefore entreat to you all to rule with wisdom, truth, impartiality, by example, dialogue, and compassion to attract the absolute support of your people.
The Minister for Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts, Elizabeth Ofosu-Ejari, urged benevolent organizations and companies to invest in the area and to support the construction of a cultural village that will create jobs and project the cultural heritage of the people.
I therefore wish to reiterate the advice I gave you when I came here on my familiarization tour early this year. I stressed on the creation of a cultural village in this area, which, while serving to protect our culture and artifacts, will also lure tourists who visit southern Ghana, especially the Volta region, to continue their tour to Bimbilla.
Baby shower largely derives its name and popularity from the related custom, the bridal shower. With this event, the to-be mother is showered with gifts awaiting the arrival of the baby. Whenever deciding on a baby shower, you would need to consider a number of things. The actual gender of the baby can help you decide the most appropriate style. You can also seek advice from the mom-to-be concerning her favorite figures.